Good evening, Patriots, and welcome to another live broadcast of the Douglas Ducote Show. You had many places to be tonight. You chose to be here with me, and for that, I am forever grateful. Thank you very, very much. May as well start off tonight giving an update on my health situation. As you can see, we did not have surgery today. It's been put off to at least next week. They're going to run some more tests. It will probably take place Monday and Tuesday. And once they gather all that information back, we'll determine where we move forward. So I'll keep you all posted. So tonight we will continue on with the live show. And boy, do we have a lot of stuff to talk about. It's absolute madness that has been taking place on our southern border since Joe Biden was sworn in as president of the United States. From day one, he reversed all of Trump's policies that had things fairly secured. Not completely, obviously. There were a lot of things that were left to be done, but he reversed all that and turned it into an absolute shit show down there. Well, it got worse today. Now they're rushing the border in areas where they can, even with razor wire, and running right over National Guard members. A large group of illegal immigrants burst through the razor wire and surged towards the border wall in El Paso, Texas, in a chaotic scene during which the National Guard members were knocked over, just as the state's anti-illegal immigration law is being held up in the courts again. Video taken by the New York Post showed dozens of adult males ripping away razor wire that was set out by the state and charging past Texas National Guardsmen. They then ran towards a section of the border wall where they were blocked from entering any further. A Texas law enforcement source told Fox News Digital the group consisted of 300 illegal immigrants and about 100 adult males rushed the soldiers, and one has been arrested so far for assaulting a soldier. Every one of them should have been arrested. The melee began when one family unit that was there appeared to be a husband and wife and their children. The National Guard opened the wire to let them through, and that's when this rush took place. More arrests are likely coming because of destruction of property and the assaults. If you've seen the video yet, it's all over Twitter. It's all over, hell, it's probably all over YouTube by now. You can hear soldiers yelling, "Get the fuck back." One soldier could be heard in a post video yelling at the illegal immigrants from the other side of the fence. Brandon Judd, president of the National Border Patrol Council, told Fox News Digital that all migrants are now apprehended and agents were going through video to see who assaulted the soldiers. They will be processed for deportation, but maintain the ability to claim asylum. Texas also has the ability to charge the migrants who assaulted them, but it marks the latest flashpoint at the border in a 3-year crisis that has seen record numbers of migrants at the border, with over 2.4 million encounters in fiscal year 23 alone. Numbers have dropped since the high of 302,000 seen just this past December. But there are concerns those numbers could again swell as the summer months are approaching. Texas has implemented a number of border security measures to tackle the flow of illegal immigrants or illegal immigration, much of which has faced opposition from the Biden administration. The razor wire has been cut by federal officials, leading to a lawsuit. Meanwhile, the administration sued over Texas deployment of boys in the Rio Grande. This week, the Supreme Court briefly allowed Texas anti-illegal immigration law, which allows police to arrest illegal immigrants, to go into effect despite a legal challenge from the Biden administration. The law, though, was kicked back down to the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals because the Supreme Court left this little loophole in it, which then it was blocked by the lower courts in Texas. The Biden administration has claimed that the law encroaches upon federal responsibility over immigration enforcement. Yet federal responsibility is not being done, which is why the Texas governor signed the law into place to start with. SB 4 will not make communities in Texas less safe. It will only burden law enforcement and sow chaos and confusion at the southern border. SB 4 is just another example of Republican officials politicizing the border while blocking real solutions, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean Bird-Nest Hare-Perry said in a statement this week. Texas has argued that it had to act because the administration is not doing its job to secure the southern border and deport those in the country illegally. Number one, we are facing such dangerous situations. And number two, Joe Biden, through his actions, is violating the laws of the United States of America, Texas Governor Abbott said. Texas has said it still has the authority to stop those coming across illegally by using trespass laws. Governor Abbott's spokesman Andrew Mihalars told Fox News Digital, the surge today in El Paso is a direct result of the unsustainable chaos President Biden has unleashed on the southern border. The Texas Military Department and the Texas Department of Public Safety quickly gained control of the situation and are working to repair the damage. These illegal immigrants committed crimes in Texas, and the Department of Public Safety is under instructions to arrest every illegal immigrant involved for committing criminal trespass and destruction of property. Meanwhile, the chaotic scene at the border will fuel the ongoing debate in Washington, D.C. over how to handle the crisis. The Biden administration has said it needs more funding, resources, and reforms to overhaul a broken system that has called for passage of a bipartisan Senate package. Republicans have said no such legislation is needed, that the administration can resolve calm by reenacting Trump's era policies like Remain in Mexico and wall construction. Just in case people are unsure, this is what an invasion looks like, Senator Tim Scott, Republican, South Carolina, said on Thursday. And sadly, he is correct. That is what it looks like. And look, if I was the president of the United States, I would have had those National Guard members on active duty service under my authority, and I would allow them to defend themselves by whatever means necessary. End of fucking discussion. Stick a fork in it. Everything Biden and his administration touches, they break. Then, of course, they blame Trump and Republicans. Well, since President Biden has been in office, immigration judges have thrown out, are you ready for this? Approximately 200,000 deportation cases because the Department of Homeland Security did not file the required notice to appear by the time the scheduled hearing came about. This report was in Transactional Records Access Clearinghouse, TRAC, which tracks immigration cases, data, and backlogs, including Department of Homeland Security records up through February of 2024. As noted by TRAC, a nonpartisan data gathering organization, Department of Homeland Security duty to file an NTA in immigration court is a crucial step in the immigration enforcement process. And of course, you all know that's run by Alejandro Marcus, that piece of crap that doesn't know shit about anything that he's doing. The NTA spells out why Department of Homeland Security believes a particular immigrant should be deported and acts as a formal request for an immigration judge to use a removal order. TRAC reports that DHS failure to file an NDA before a scheduled hearing is rare, but that increased once Border Patrol agents and other DHS personnel were given access to the immigration court's interactive scheduling system. This created problems where Department of Homeland Security employees could schedule immigration court hearings sooner than the agency could file the NTA. The court would then schedule a case that didn't technically exist, wasting valuable time while staring down some 3.5 million pending immigration cases. In turn, immigrants would be left in limbo. Those who might show up for a court hearing would have no legal means to make an asylum claim, which they need to obtain work permits. This created problems where Department of Homeland Security employees could schedule immigration court hearings sooner than the agency could follow it, as we already talked about. The court would then schedule the case that didn't technically exist, wasting everybody's time. The bottom line is, because they did this, over 200,000 are in the country, and we don't know where the fuck they are. Nor do they have a notice to appear to come to court, because the administration dropped the ball and put incompetent people in charge of positions of power in this country that break shit. This should just be a sign that can be held up. Anywhere a Biden administration official tries to change something, a sign that you hold up that just says, back the fuck off, or do not touch. Because everything they touch, they break. Am I wrong? If I am, please share your comments. As I know some of you liberal idiots will. Love to hear from you about how dumb and stupid your brain operates by sucking up too much oxygen on planet Earth and believing that Joe Biden is your savior of all saviors. Well, because of his babbling idiot brain, you guys fit right in because you're as dumb as he is for voting for the son of a bitch. As if what Joe Biden's administration is doing to America is not bad enough, thankfully, the Senate, controlled by Democrats, voted today in favor of passing a bill reversing the Biden administration's recent action, which I know is going to be a shock to all of you because it was to me, because I had no clue they tried to push this shit through and make it legal. Biden's administration's recent action allowing beef, from cattle, imports from Paraguay, which has a history of cattle-borne illnesses. In a 70-25 vote, the Senate approved the Congressional Review Act resolution, rendering in veto-proof Senators John Tester, Democrat, Montana, and Mike Rounds, Republican, South Dakota, introduced the bipartisan resolution back in February, which has been widely endorsed by cattle and farm industry groups, arguing that the Department of Agriculture, the USDA, actions could have negative consequences on the U.S. food supply, make Americans sick, and probably kill many. President Biden butchered this decision, Taser said in a statement after the bill passed. By cutting corners to resume beef imports from a country with a recent history of foot and mouth disease, the Biden administration is jeopardizing our food supply and giving Montana consumers and the American people a product that's a raw deal. We cannot allow beef imports from Paraguay until we have data that shows that they're meeting the high standards of animal health standards as American ranchers do. And I'm proud to have secured bipartisan support in the Senate to force the Biden administration to reverse course. In November, the USDA Animal and Plant Health Inspection Services finalized regulations allowing Paraguay beef imports and issued a series of conditions that importers must meet to ensure that livestock diseases are not present in shipping products. The agency then began implementing of the rules 1 month later. Despite criticism from lawmakers and U.S. industry groups, Paraguay's livestock industry, though, has a history of foot and mouth disease, which spreads quickly among livestock and could severely threaten the U.S. economy if it's allowed here. As a result, beef imports from the South American nation have been barred in the U.S. for years. South Dakota is known for having high-quality beef products by hardworking farmers and ranchers across the state, said Rounds. We have very high standards regarding the quality of our beef. Unfortunately, Paraguay does not have the same history of enforcing health and safety standards that Americans do. Our inspectors have been to Paraguay. USDA actions came after a push from Paraguayan officials who argued that the industry was vital for the nation and that the country's government had taken steps to ensure the health of its cattle. According to a readout of a September meeting between Paraguayan government and White House officials of the United States trade representatives, the two sides discussed the process and authority. Paraguayan officials expressed a desire to resume a raw beef product trade as soon as possible. Paraguayan cattle industry associates and government agencies, including the Embassy of Paraguay to the U.S., submitted comments in May of 2023 in response to the proposed version of the regulation that was finalized last year. The comments similarly urged the USDA to immediately allow beef imports. The government of Paraguay and its diplomatic representation here in Washington, D.C. are more than open to providing additional assurance regarding our compliance with the United States safety standards, a spokesman from the Embassy of Paraguay said to Fox News Digital. We believe that the meat industry of our two countries have a lot of potential for opportunities and collaboration, especially in the exchange of knowledge in cattle breeding, herd management, sustainable practices, and trade and investment. Spokesperson said the USDA Food Safety and Inspection Service agents conducted 2 on-site audits in Paraguay in December of 2021, and then they went back and did it again in 2022. And they said that the nation had demonstrated its capability to comply with U.S. standards and regulations. The White House issued a statement disapproving the resolution, saying it would mark a significant setback in the United States-Paraguay bilateral relationship and U.S. credibility as a reliable and economic partner across Latin America. However, the National Cattlemen Beef Association, U.S. Cattlemen's Association, Livestock Marketing Association, our California USA, National Farmers Union, Montana Farmers Union, Montana Stock Growers Association, Montana Farm Bureau Federation all praised the Senate passing of the resolution. Given Paraguay's long history of foot and mouth disease outbreaks, it is simply too risky to allow Paraguayan imports without recent site visits to confirm the safety of the beef, said NCBA Executive Director of Government Affairs Ken Bacchus. U.S. cattle producers are thankful for the leadership of Senators John Taser and Mike Rounds for applying the Congressional Review Act to hold USDA accountable and protect our nation's cattle herd. So here's a thought that I came up with after I read this article. And it might just allow this to work to where they can still bring this possibly contaminated beef here to America and sell it. Biden's disease-infected beef could possibly still be sold here in America, and it would be okay. So here's my plan. This is how we do this. Similar to voter ID, for elections that Democrats don't like. How about, in order to buy any meat products in a grocery store in America, doesn't matter if it's your mom and pop grocery, doesn't matter if it's Walmart, Whole Foods, wherever you buy steaks, ground meat, whatever. When you go to the grocery store shopping, you must bring with you, in order to buy any meat products, your voter registration card. Just the card that shows that you're a registered voter. Those that it shows registered Democrat can only buy Joe Biden's meat. And those that are Republican or independents can buy any type. That will fix the problem. That's why I'm not president. I would drive the fucking liberals nuts. This next story touches home because it affects me too. A former NBC executive has sparked backlash for a tweet that said Byron Trump, Donald Trump's youngest son, was fair game now that he's turning 18 years old. Because of the backlash, he has now deleted the post and said he does not wish harm on the former president's son. So here's what happened. Mike Singleton, a retired NBC Universal senior executive, was criticized yesterday by thousands of people on X, formerly Twitter, when he put out a tweet for Byron's birthday that took place. A post that said, Byron Trump turns 18 today. He's fair game now. Sharing an image of him with his father. Well, Singleton stopped short of an apology. He has since, as I said, deleted the tweet and attempted to clarify his message, telling Newsweek, I posted this was fair game now, meaning as an adult, he's fair game for criticism from the press. Someone pointed out to me, fair game could mean fair game to be harmed. I don't wish physical harm on anyone, so I took it down. I listened to the comments and criticism I received, he continued. The Trump campaign did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Byron has largely been able to stay out of the limelight during and after Trump's time in office, but several prominent figures have made cruel remarks or jokes aimed at Trump's youngest son. During Trump's 2019 impeachment hearing, for instance, Stanford law professor Pamela Karlan cracked a joke during her testimony, saying the Constitution says there can be no titles of nobility, so while the president can name his son Byron, he can't make him a Byron. A year earlier, actor Peter Fonda was condemned for a tweet that he said wanted to rip Byron Trump from his mother's arms and put him in a cage with pedophiles. Former Saturday Night Live writer Kate Rich was suspended from the show in 2018 for a post she did on Twitter that said Byron could be the country's first homeschool shooter. Following Kathy Griffin's infamous photo shoot where she held up a prop of Trump's bloody and severed head. Host Ken Jenkins joked that Byron must have thought the pictures were real. Byron Trump saw a very large necktie on a heap of expired deli meat in a dumpster. He thought it was his dad, and his little heart is breaking, Jennings wrote at the time. Kalen, Fonda, Rich, and Jennings all apologized for the comments. So why? Why? Why must the left-wing nut jobs attack people's families that they don't agree with politically? Why can't they just go after the messenger that they don't agree with? This type of harassment happens to me every week, sometimes several times a week. I could tell you all horror stories that me and my family had endured since I started this program. Well, they come to realize that their pathetic words of no merit statements don't have an effect on the messenger like Trump or myself. So they result to the only thing that the lowest of low in our society, the bottom dwellers that have no social life, no love life, no life in general, do. They go for the wife and kids. In my case, they really get off insulting my oldest son because he has special needs. People like Glenn Ray Hyder and Stephen Ray Foster, two absolutely subhuman menaces of society, maybe their parents didn't love them enough. Maybe they were bullied at school, so they grew up as adults to be bullies. Regardless, these parasites that have to stoop so damn low that they attack family members are very sick and perverted freaks of nature. And karma will always bite them in the ass when they least see it coming. And when that happens, I applaud. You don't like what I have to say? You don't like my message? You think I'm full of shit? Guess what? This is America. Click the fuck out of the Douglas Ducote Show and don't watch my shit. Same thing with Donald Trump. You don't like what he has to say? Don't watch him talk. Turn the fucking channel. Don't go to his pep rallies. Why do you have to go after their families with such horrible and disgusting insults? Because you're low-life, subhuman, Mongol pieces of shit. That's why. Because you don't know how to do anything else. You can't attack me on the merits of what I say because you know I'm fucking right. And it goes against your warped ideology of liberalness, fucking crazy bullshit that's in your heads. It's no different with those that are attacking any Republican or conservative. And when I see Republicans doing something like this, the Democrats, I call them out too, as many of you know that watch this show on a regular basis. You can go back and find videos of me calling Republicans out for attacking family members of Democrats. Go after the messenger. I'm a big boy. I can take it. Trump's a big boy. He can take it. What you won't see ever is people like me and people like Donald Trump go after your children, especially if they're under 18 and especially if they're special needs. There is a special place in hell for those that do that. And I have no doubt that those that attack children are going to hell. Moving on. Several Democrat earmarks in this year's congressional budget requests are raising eyebrows again. I mean, I just can't fucking wrap my head around. The Democrats know what the Republicans are not going to allow in these bills. It's not going to do it. But they push it anyhow. And then blame a possible government shutdown because Republicans are holding up the bill. The 1,000-page budget was released at 2:30 a.m. this morning. That was done on purpose at 2:30 a.m. It includes earmarks that would go towards transsexual facilities and late-term abortion clinics. Also includes a multi-million-dollar proposal of what critics dub gun compensation research. Former Vice President Mike Pence, nonprofit organization Advance American Freedom, told Fox News Digital in a statement today that Congress can't pass this legislation in its current form until these outrageous earmarks are weeded out. And he's correct on that. Releasing bill text in the middle of the night is how our government gets locked into funding gaps and binders for confused kids, AAF Policy Director John Shelton said. American taxpayers are funding centers that encourage children to transition without their parents' knowledge. According to appropriation documents, Wisconsin Democrat Senator Tammy Baldwin requested $400,000 for a facility called Briar Patch Youth Services. One of the group's programs is called Teens Like Us, LGBTQIA2S+, for ages 13 to 18, and a gender-affirming clothing program that provides minors with clothing that matches their gender identity. It also organizes a pride prom for kids as young as 12 and connects the LGBTQ youth without parental knowledge. Youth do not need parent or guardian permission to join teens like us. We understand not all youth are at a point in their lives where they can safely and confidently come out, the website says. Now, let me stop right there for a second. That's the problem with you fucking wingnuts. Children, at no time, have the mental capacity to make the decision that what they're doing with their sexual organs is going to be the right or wrong decision, especially as they're becoming a teenager. And estrogen with women or testosterone with men are flowing through our bodies, and teenagers don't know what the fuck they want, literally, until they figure that shit out. And sometimes that doesn't happen until late into their teens or into their adulthood. And once they become an adult, look, if you're a guy and you struggled with your abilities to understand why you feel like a girl, and then once you become, I would say 21, not 18, I'd say 21, if you want to cut your shit off and start taking pills that are going to grow breast, fucking go for it. I don't care. But you're forcing this on the children in our society, and that's where we draw the line. Another request from New Jersey Democrat Senator Cory Booker and Bob Menendez would send $400,000 to the state's largest LGBTQ plus advocacy group, the Garden State Equity Education Fund Incorporated. The group provides binders and gaps, two types of undergarments used by transgender people to hide their breast or male genitalia. Rhode Island Democrat Senator Jack Reed and Shelton Whitehouse requested $1.8 million for a women and infants hospital in Rhode Island. The clinic performs elective abortions up to 22 weeks, both surgical and chemical, according to its own website. Another $12.5 million is proposed for a National Institute of Health study called the Prevent Firearm Industry and Mortality Research. The NIH said on its website they are committed to supporting scientific research to develop, evaluate, and implement effective public health interventions to better understand and prevent violence, including firearm violence, and the resulting trauma, injury, and mortality. Gun Owners of America, a gun rights lobbyist organization, posted on Twitter today, or X. Such grants currently fund research on gun compensation, a firearm retirement age for seniors, and more. The House is expected to vote on the appropriations package later this week before some government funding runs out on Friday night. 4 continuing resolutions were passed following the initial September 30th deadline for appropriation bills. While Congress is yet to fully fund the government for fiscal year 2024, President Joe Biden released $7.3 trillion 2025 budget proposal last week. The U.S. national debt is currently just under $34.5 trillion, and the federal budget deficit is $531 billion, according to the latest data. So, come Friday, Democrats, unless you take this shit out of your bill, guess what's not going to get passed? Fucking idiots. Speaking of idiots, I, for one, want to know where the FBI and the Department of Justice is on this next story. Why this son of a bitch isn't in handcuffs sitting in a fucking jail cell somewhere. A virtual TikTok video shows an illegal immigrant influencer on TikTok encouraging other illegal immigrants to invade houses in the United States and take advantage of squatting laws that make it difficult for squatters to be removed from homes in liberal states and cities. Colin Rugg, co-owner of Trending Politics, shared the virtual TikTok video yesterday on X, formerly Twitter. Rugg wrote, "TikToker is going viral by telling illegal immigrants how to invade homes in America thanks to progressive squatting laws." In the video, the influencer tells illegal immigrants about squatting laws and allow empty homes to be taken over by squatters, he said. "There's a law that if a house is not inhabited, it can be seized." The TikToker claimed his next business would be invading abandoned houses. After expressing his desire to invade American houses, the man said, "My African friends have told me that they have already taken about 7 homes." He added, "You have to look for the return, and the return right now is to invade a house." The TikToker claimed that the only way for illegal immigrants to not live in the streets and not be a public burden is to invade and seize abandoned houses. At the end of the video, the man asked other social media users for their thoughts regarding progressive squatting laws. "We can invade a house in the U.S. What do you think about this new law?" he asked. Progressive squatter laws, such as in New York City law, make it difficult to remove squatters from properties after a certain length of time. Under New York City law, landlords are not legally allowed to remove tenants or lock them out of a property if an individual has squatted in a place for over 30 days. So, let's back up a second. You're going to move, and you put your house up on the market. And the house that you want to move to and buy, your house ain't selling fast enough, and the other one's going to go. So you go ahead and sign the paperwork to secure that other home, which happens every day with thousands and thousands and thousands, fucking millions of Americans do this. So did I. The house I was selling, the market wasn't good for it in its area. The house I was buying, the market was great. If I wanted that house, I had to go ahead and close on it while I have my other house up for sale. So if my house is up for sale for more than 30 days in these Democrat areas across our country that allow this squatter law, then a squatter can move in it. And there ain't a goddamn thing I can do about it. Go through their process that the liberals have that could take months or years to get them removed. Regardless if they're an illegal alien or they're an American citizen, it's not their house. It belongs to someone else. And the simple fact that these warped brain minions allow this kind of shit to happen in their cities. Look, if you're still staying in those cities like New York, you deserve this shit. Get the fuck out of there. Go somewhere else. Get away from these Democrat-run cities and liberal-controlled cities once and for all, and let them just destroy themselves, for crying out loud. The best thing I ever did in my life as far as a relocation was concerned was seeing the state of California in my rear view mirror as I drove my family away in U-Haul trucks. Fuck that state. And I wish that all my friends that are still there, to include some family members, could get out. And many of them are doing that. And they're attempting to get out. And they're planning on getting out. You know, not only do I want to see a wall across our southern border, but when it hits California, hook a right and start going up north, all the way to the border of Alaska. Fuck them all. Washington State, Oregon, California? No. There's no love life, no love loss for you guys. The Democrats have destroyed those states, especially the inner cities. Moving on, the virtual TikTok video has been met with widespread backlash on social media as American citizens have criticized the liberal policies that allow illegal immigrants to take control of the empty homes. It's starting to feel like illegal immigrants have more rights than actual citizens, one social user commented. And that's true. I just told you Tuesday. What did I tell you Tuesday? A judge determined that illegal immigrants may have the same Second Amendment rights as American citizens. One person on Twitter said this is promoting terrorism. Another social media user warned, where is the FBI and Department of Homeland Security to track down this guy and arrest him? Why do we even have laws in this country that allow illegals to come in and seize homes that they don't own? Our country is being taken over, and our government is letting it happen. A new movie intended to send a prerogative message about race relations in America, thank God, bombed at the box office on its opening this past weekend. Focus features the American Society of Magical Negroes took the 9th spot at the box office last weekend, grossing $1,304,270 while playing in 1,147 locations around the U.S. The film centers around a young black man who is recruited to be part of a society where black people use their magical powers to make white people uncomfortable so that they don't hurt black people. The movie's title plays off a trope of black characters in films who have set up to help white characters in their pursuit, like Michael Clark Duncan's character in The Green Mile, according to a review from the Los Angeles Times. In the trailer, Proctus RN, played a Justice Smith, learns he must put white people's needs before his own so that the secret society maintains their magical powers. White people, when they are uncomfortable, are the most dangerous animal on the planet. David Allen, Greer's character Roger, explains to Earn. That's why we fight white discomfort every day. Because the happier they are, do you think we're happier and safe? He says in one scene that's featured in a theatrical trailer. Society members also use a white tears sadness meter to track white discomfort in the film. The pic did poorly with reviews, earning just 31% of critics from critics on Rotten Tomatoes. Even critics who were sympathetic to the movie's political message said it failed to deliver. Then critic Carlos Aguilar painted the pic as too timid to land any blows. The movie's predictable speech-filled resolution, where Aaron literally taking the stage to speak his truth, finally renders a psychopathic, critical, mild, incoherent, and disappointing outcome for premises that have the potential to be truly incendiary, he wrote in the Times. The Washington Post film critic Michael Sullivan also was dissatisfied in the movie's execution, calling it a bloodless satire that's too eager to please. And the whole purpose of the movie was to make white people squirm. Well, first, to make white people squirm, you have to get white people to go to the movie. And if you want to make movies that make billions of dollars, you have to cater to white people. Because that's who buys 90% of all the fucking tickets. It's the facts. It's not racist to say that, although I'm going to be attacked for being a racist for saying it. So bring it on. No, it's facts. That's who buys the majority of the tickets. In fact, it's probably more like closer to 95% of the people in America that go to the movies are white people. And do you think for 1 second, Hollywood, that you're going to get the average white person to go watch a movie that's painting white people as the problem in society? Y'all are a special type of stupid out there in Hollywood. Anyhow, folks, you had many places to be tonight. You chose to be here with me, and for that, I am forever grateful. Thank you very, very much for joining tonight's show. Again, I will keep you all updated as things progress with my upcoming surgery. I'm going to relax this weekend. I've got a very good friend of mine that I served in the military with and in combat with. My brother Rick Hendricks is in town. He's going to be visiting with me tomorrow, and actually he's going to be here for a few weeks. So we're going to get to hang out a lot and catch up on old times. It's been a while. Folks, something breaks between now and next Tuesday. Do a show about it or live video about it, whatever. Until then, please be safe whatever you're doing this weekend. And please say a prayer for our men and women serving the United States military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers, our first responders and their families, our angel families, our blue and gold star families, and our country. May God bless the United States of America. And may God bless each and every one of you. Thank you, everybody. Good night. Have a wonderful, wonderful